So let's start over again. Back to the slides. Okay, so welcome to Webinar Wednesdays. This is Patricia Bauer at Everyday Funding Services, and today we're going to discuss how to determine if you have a deal. So you'll need to determine the ARV, or the after repair value, using comps. The repairs on the property, how much are you going to pay in construction costs, and then analyze the deal. Let's get started. So comps are comparable homes, whether it's a ranch or a colonial. You'll need to know what type of house it is and make sure you're comparing the same types of homes. The comps will determine the after repair value of the deal, how much you'll be able to sell the house for after you've made the repairs. So the key information you'll need to start comping is the town the property is located in, the school district, the number of bedrooms and baths, the type of home, and do not assume that the town has the same school district. Everybody in that town is the same school district. Long Island is very school district driven, so you can have two properties in the same town that are actually going to two different school districts, and that's very important when you're comping your house. So when you're doing your comps, you'll need to understand two things. Okay. How Zillow values the property, they call it a zestimate. They take an average price of homes sold in the immediate surrounding area of your property. So a 750 square foot house surrounded by 300,000 square foot colonials that sold for $500,000 will be valued at $500,000 by Zillow. It's not a true value to your property if your property is only 750 square feet.
That's cool. That's a cool one.
Pay attention to the size of your house and the size of the surrounding houses that they're using for comps.
They can drive you crazy.
Yeah, right.
It's very important that you know your square footage and their square footage to determine whether or not that is a true comp to your property. You'll need to identify the type of property. So a ranch is worth less than a high ranch.
It's from the same guy.
A raised ranch is not the same as a high ranch or a farm ranch. Capes are considered 1.5 stories, but a Cape Cod is considered 1.75. And a salt box is considered 1.70. So you need to know your house styles. If you're using MLS, you could go onto the public records and start a search. To do that, you'll need the street address, and you don't put in road, street, or avenue. If it's Main Street, you just put in Main. Leave out street when you're using MLS. Check to see if the owners live in the property. You could do that by seeing if they have a different mailing address listed on the public records. Public records will also give you the taxes and the school district. Taxes, of course, will determine how much people can afford to pay for the house. The higher the taxes, it's going to make a difference in their mortgage payments. So, know what your taxes are, and the school district, very important. The property square footage may or may not be listed on MLS. Try to find that information there, and how many beds and baths. That's usually on there for you to see. Check to see if this is a private community. If it is, you'll have HOA, known as Homeowners Association fees. So you'll see on public records it may be listed as a condo, a co-op, or they may say HOA. So you'll need to know how much the HOA fees are as well. MLS will also show you the history of that house as far as sales and listings. So has it been listed before? Was the listing withdrawn? How long ago was it listed? It'll also show you the mortgages on the house and if there's any list pendants on the house. So that'll give you more of a history, what's going on with the property. Bathrooms located in the basement are not counted. So if a house has 2 baths on the 2nd floor and 1 in the basement, it's only considered a 2-bath house, not a 3-bath house. Your goal when determining your ARV is to be as impartial as you can. To be confident in your sales price, you'll need to know the following. You need to find 3 properties which are the same style as your property. So a ranch to a ranch, a colonial to a colonial. They'll need to have the same number of rooms, especially the bathrooms and the bedrooms. And approximately the same square footage. So if it's 2,300 square foot house, okay, 24, 25 may be a comp for you, but a 1,500 square foot house or a 3,000 square foot house is not a comp for your house. You need to be in the same town and school district. You need to make sure that your comps have sold within the last 3 months and within a half a mile of your property. Great if you could find comps within 3 months and a quarter of a mile, that's even better. But you could go out to 6 months or a half mile of your property. Things that are, 12 months old and a mile away from your house is not going to be a comp for you, so try to get the most recent sold comps that you can. The average selling price of all 3 comps that you obtain is your ARV. So then you need to come up with your repair estimate. So, pay particular attention to the big ticket items when you're first approaching the house, when you're standing back at the curb, look up at the roof and see if the roof has any dips in it, that all of your lines are straight, especially around your windows. That'll give you an idea of the structural integrity of the house and make repairs there. Walk around the outside, look at the foundation. You're looking for any cracks that are big enough for you to put a quarter in. The tiny little hairline cracks are no big deal, but the larger cracks can indicate that you have a foundation issue. Other big ticket items are your plumbing, heating, and electrical. So once you're done walking around the outside of the house, you're going to go inside. If there is a basement, go downstairs in the basement and look at your foundation inside as well. Even if you don't see cracks, look to see if the walls look chalky at all, which can indicate possible water damage. It may just have too much moisture. You may have to do some repairs for that as well. Look at your electrical box. See if your service is 100 or 200 amps. Great if you have a 200 amp service. 100 amps, you may have to increase the service to that, especially if you're going to be putting in HVAC. HVAC will require 200 amp service. So if that's something you're looking to do, you need to know what the service is in your house. Look for any exposed wires. A lot of times you can see the pipes down in the basement, so you'll see if any are broken or if there's any drips of water, if they're leaking. Look at the boiler. The boiler will usually have tags on it, so you'll see when the last date was that the boiler was serviced. Look around the bottom of the boiler, see if it's all rusty. If it's lifted off the ground, that's even better. But if it's nice and it's clean and it's been serviced recently, you probably won't have a problem with that. So we're going to give you a checklist to determine your repairs. So now on this slide you see what we have for a low end, a high end, and the average price. So again, you have the outside, your roofing. Average price for a new roof is about $7,500. Siding, average price would be about another $7,500. Do you have to repair the driveway? Is it in good shape? If it's concrete and it just has some stains on it, you probably just power wash that. So just take a look at it when you're there. See if that's something you need to do or if that's something you could get away without doing. If there are skylights in the house, you'll have to pay particular attention to whether they're leaking or if there's any cracks, if they need to be repaired or replaced. Count the number of windows around the house. See if they are newer windows. If they're the old single panes, you're going to have to replace those. Windows will run you about $250 per window. Bay windows are more expensive. You're going to be looking around $3,000 for that. Your walkways and your steps, if you need to replace them, you know, do you have to take them out? Can you just do some repair work? You may get away with some masonry work. That can run you $1,500 if you actually have to repair it. The gutters and the downspouts, you can sometimes repair them, other times you just have to replace them. There's no fixing them. Now, when you are doing the demo, you're going to have to get dumpsters. Dumpsters will run you $600–700 a dumpster. So, see how much has to be taken out of the house. Are you gutting the whole house, or are you just maybe taking out the kitchen and the bathroom, replacing that? You might get away with just one dumpster, but it is a cost that you're going to incur. The exterior doors, windows and awnings, do they need to be replaced or repaired? They can run you $600. Your front door alone, I've paid $750 on a front door. Your front door is the first thing that people see when they're walking into the house. So sometimes it's really better just to bite the bullet, pay for a nice front door, because that's their first impression. And of course, your landscaping. When they're walking up to the house, you want to make sure it's nice, it's pretty, it's clean. So, you know, I always advise people, put a little money into your landscaping. Don't just have what's there. You know, mow the lawn and trim the bushes. Make sure it's really nice. If they're really old, overgrown bushes, take them out. Put in some nice little colorful plants. Curb appeal is extremely important. Again, it's the first impression that people are going to get when they see the house. Sheetrock and spackle. Sometimes you could just paint the walls out of there. Other times walls just need to, you need to take out that sheetrock and put up new. I've heard people saying, oh, I could just skim coat over it. Yes, you can, but understand that you have labor costs there. That takes a lot of time. Every time they skim coat, they have to wait for it to dry, and then they have to sand it down. This is going to be taking time. The labor is going to go into your budget. The time is going to extend your holding costs. So sometimes it's just better to take out that piece of sheetrock, put up fresh new sheetrock and spackle. Usually you have to paint, carpeting, depending upon the house. You just have to rip it out. Sometimes you can get away with just cleaning it if it's newer, but if you're going to be replacing it, you're going to be looking about $3 per square foot. So wood floors, if you have nice wood floors in there, get them sanded and polyurethanes. Especially today, people are really looking for wood floors. If you can lift up the carpeting that are in those bedrooms and you see nice wood floors underneath there, the best thing that you could do is to keep the wood floor, get rid of the carpeting. Of course, your sanding the wood floors is more expensive, so you'll have to determine whether or not you could fit that into your budget. Sometimes just keeping the wood floors in the common areas and replacing the carpeting in bedrooms is more economical for you. So, keep all of these things in mind. If you are replacing sheetrock, remember that you do have those trim, and typically you don't want to reuse that same trim. You're going to want to get some nice new trim. If you're replacing all the trim in the house, it could end up costing you $2,000. If you're just painting your walls and you have the trim that's there and it's in good shape, just leave it, have it painted. Usually you're going to want to replace the fixtures, the locks, the hardware, the door handles. If you add them all up in a house, you have a lot of doors in a house, and the front door handle is going to be the most expensive one that you're going to buy. But it is important that, once again, you're making a good impression. So add that into your budget. Budget about another $2,000 for your your door handles, your locks, and your fixtures. Your light fixtures are included in that as well. So you could go with just the contractor's grade in most cases, but just for a quick number to use, you could put in $2,000, and you should be pretty safe with that. The interior doors, the doors for your bedrooms and your baths, are going to run you about $125 per door. If you have nice 6-panel doors already in there, sometimes you could just paint them and change the handles on them. They look brand new. But if you have those older flat doors, that really date the look of the house. And you don't want to have different doors throughout the house. Sometimes, you know, the bedroom doors have been replaced, but the bathroom door wasn't. So if the bedrooms have the 6-panel, go get the 6-panel for the bathroom as well. I'm not saying you have to replace all of them. Just look and see what you have there and make sure that they're all the same throughout the house. You don't have different doors. And using either the 4 or the 6-panel definitely gives a better impression. The house looks much nicer. The first thing that all women go right to the kitchen in the house. So doing your kitchen, your cabinets, your appliances, your tile, your countertop, your sink, all of these things can easily add up to $10,000, $15,000 in a larger house. In your smaller houses, somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. So count how many base cabinets you have, how many top cabinets you have, and do a nice kitchen. That's the first thing that every woman is going to look at, and that's what's going to sell your house. The bathrooms easily can run you $5,000 if you have to replace the tub, the toilet, the vanity, and all of the tiles, the tub surrounds. So budget in for a nice bathroom there. Average size bathroom will cost you about $5,000. A smaller bathroom will only cost you about $4,000. And then you're going to have your electrical. You're going to have to call for estimates. Sometimes you just have to replace outlets. You do have to have GFI outlets, especially in your kitchens and your bathrooms. So that you're going to have to get an electrician in there and give you an estimate of what needs to be done. If you have to replace the electrical panel, do you have enough amps? Do you have a 200 amp service? If you do have the 200 amp service, then they probably have changed out a lot of the outlets, but look in your kitchens and your baths and make sure you have those GFI outlets, otherwise they need to be replaced as well. So get an electrician in there as soon as possible. If you need to change the electrical panel, that'll run you at least $1,250. So know that these are additional costs that you're going to have to incur. These are only estimates that we have on here, so you have to get a licensed electrician in there to tell you exactly what your house is going to cost. Again, for the plumbing, if you have leaks and you actually see water or puddles or even just drips in pipes, you're going to have to get the plumber in there. If you're moving the kitchen, sometimes, like I've had a kitchen where the sink is in a corner, sometimes you're going to want to move that sink. So if you're looking out the back window, so the plumber is going to have to get in there. You're going to need to get permits. So understand that these are things that you do have to call in, licensed plumbers and electricians give actual costs for these items. So we can tell you that if you have to change your oil burner, or if you have a gas burner, that's probably going to run you about $5,000. And the estimates that we gave you don't include labor, so understand that you're going to have to pay labor charges, sheetrock, spackle, all that stuff is easily going to cost you another $3,500. Always take into consideration miscellaneous overages. I call it a contingency budget. So when you come up with your total number that you think is going to cost, for your repairs, add in another, I usually say at least 10%. If you're very experienced at doing this, 5%, And if you're doing a high-end house, 15%, you may think that the electrical is fine, and then all of a sudden you find out that the squirrels were up in the attic and they ate through some of the electrical lines. So that would go into your contingency budget. So make sure you're giving yourself a good contingency. I do at least 10%, and on a higher end house, I would budget 15% in for a contingency. Nothing ever goes perfect when you're flipping a house. You're always going to have some surprises somewhere. So keeping a good contingency budget for yourself is just a little safety net for you. So here we have for you what you would use to analyze your deal. This is what you should be putting into an Excel spreadsheet. So you're going to have the purchase price. You're going to want to minus out the repairs that you're paying for it. You're going to need to know what your after repair value is. Your buying closing costs. You're going to have to pay title insurance. Your attorney. You're going to have to average in the taxes that you're going to be paying on that house while you're doing your rehab and then trying to sell that house. So if your taxes are $9,000 a year, divided by 12 to get the monthly, and we usually say times it by 7 because your rehabs are typically going to take 2 to 3 months. I've had to take 4 months on an extensive repair. Then remember, you still have to market that property for sale, and your end buyer typically has to get a mortgage on the property. That could easily take them 2 months to close on their mortgage. That's your holding cost time. So adding in a good 7 months worth of taxes just to keep yourself safe. You're going to have to pay recording fees, insurance. You're going to have your builder's risk policy while you're rehabbing the house. And then, of course, the title is going to send a title closer over there, and he needs to be paid as well. Typically, that's about $300. So now you'll have your total buying costs and holding costs. Know how much you are going to purchase the price for. Your purchase price minus your repairs, minus your holding costs. Minus all of that from your ARV, and now you have how much your profit is going to be. Now that's if you're not using hard money. If you are using hard money, then you're going to have your interest that you're going to need to calculate into that as well. So you're going to have financing costs. Typically with hard money, you're going to be paying for an application fee and an appraisal, $500 each. They're going to charge you points. 1 point is 1% of the loan amount that you take out with them, and they're typically going to charge you 2 to 4 points. So if you want to just average out using 3 points, that'll be safe for you. Your average loan, once again, is going to be about 10% in interest rate, so calculate that for over the 7th month holding time, and then you'll know how much you're paying in interest. And mortgage tax and other fees, it's going to vary according to your town. I know out east they have a Baconic tax that's not applicable like in Nassau County. So if you put in $1,250, just once again, to be on the safe side, you'd rather overestimate than underestimate. So once you know your total finance charges, you're going to have to back that out of your costs as well. Again, your holding cost is going to include your insurance. You'll have to have the builder's risk policy on there. You're going to have utilities. You're going to have your heating, and in the winter months around here, the heating can run you a couple $100 if you have to fill the oil tank or if it's gas, and you're going to have the electric on so that they can work on the house. So put in about $700 to cover you for about 7 months. And in the summertime, you're going to have to cut the grass. In the wintertime, you're going to have snow removal. So if you put in about another $980 for that, you're probably overestimating, and that's okay, because overestimate than underestimate, because it's coming out of your bottom line either way. Then once you sell the house, you're going to have closing costs for that as well. Once again, you're going to be paying your attorney. There's going to be transfer tax, recording tax, again, the title closer. So you'll need to put in at least another $1,700 for that. And if you're not a real estate agent, you're going to be using a real estate agent to sell the house for you. They can charge you up to 6%. I've seen some as low as 4%. So assume that you're using a real estate agent and they're going to be charging you about 5%. So if the house is going to sell, the after repair value is $350, you're going to be paying out $17,500 in your real estate commissions. So you'll have the subtotal of your closing costs for the sale. So then you just calculate it all down at the bottom and you'll see what your profit is on the property. So if you put this into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, the way you see it on this screen, that will be very useful, so you could just plug and play. Don't try to bump up your ARV. That's your most important number. Everybody says, oh, well, that house went for $375. But if that's the highest price that you have, you're really taking a big risk by banking on the highest sale. So that's why we tell you to get 3 comps and average out what the 3 comps sold for and use the average number. Trying to force the numbers is very dangerous for you. It could cut into your profit and you can even end up losing money. So put this all into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet and then you could just plug and play, figure out how much you can afford to pay for the house, because the fact is you make money when you buy the house. Buying the house at the right price, knowing how much your repairs are going to cost, bring in the professionals where you need professionals with your plumbing and your electric, and just knowing how much the basic kitchen costs, basic bathrooms. It's not going to vary much from town to town. You know, the kitchen is the kitchen. It's how big is the kitchen. Your larger kitchens versus your smaller kitchens. Your higher end kitchens, are you going to be using granite? You know, or are you going to be using mica? That's a big ticket item. Granite really helps you sell the house. So get a good idea. This way, when you're walking the house, you can run numbers really quickly, and you could put in your offers quickly. You could bring in your professionals later, but in order to get your offers out quickly, you're going to need a good idea of these numbers. So these different items, and knowing what these costs are with that previous screen that we showed you, the repair budget, is very, very helpful. Using it in an Excel spreadsheet, like I said, helps you just plug and play so that you're able to run your numbers quickly, put in your offers quickly, and bring in your professionals later. If you find out later that there is a big ticket item that you didn't put in, you have, let's say, an electrical issue that you were unaware of, but you brought in your electrician and now you found out that this is going to cost you another $10,000 to rewire the whole house, you can always go back and change your offer on the property. You can renegotiate the purchase price. But don't try to push your after repair value, because that's where most investors run into trouble. So if you'd like any more information and you'd like to get pre-qualified for a loan, if you have a loan in contract and you just want to discuss it, you want to fill out an application, I can help you with that. You can call me at 631-343-8700. My extension is 501. Or you can email me at patricia@everydayfundingservices.com. So give us a call if you just want to chat about your deal, or if you need help filling out an application, we can set up an appointment to help you do that. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you or speaking with you at our next webinar Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody.